Hello everyone, it's Cassie and welcome back to my YouTube channel for another video. Today we're going to be working with the Spellbinders Daisy Delight Garden Shutters. The other day I showed the Spellbinders Butterfly Bliss Garden Shutters, and I'll have that linked down below because they obviously correlate. But this is the one that is the A2 size, and so I'm going to show you how easy it is to put together. They sort of look intimidating, but I promise you they're going to be great. Just like for the 5x7 one, you're going to need 3 pieces of 4¼ by 5½ inch, so it's A2 size. And I haven't cut down the top one just yet because there is a die that I'm going to use for that. But let's go right into the middle piece. This is where your shutters are actually going to be, and you're going to use this little die right here. You're going to line it up on the top, and then you're going to kind of eyeball where the rest of it's going to sit. You want it to be sort of centered, and then, like I said, the top part just lined up with the top. All right, and then just like before, we're going to pop out the little pieces that might be stuck in those squares, and then we're going to line those dots up, the holes up with the holes that were already punched through. So once we get that lined up, we're going to tack this down with our mint tape again, and then we can run that through our die cutting machine. But you're only going to get 2 shutters on this one since it's A2. If you'd like 3, head on over to the Butterfly Bliss one for 5x7. All right, so now we have to do our scoring, and you're going to take these little squares, the top ones, and you're going to score them towards you. Then the next score line, you're going to score away from you. I'm having a little bit of trouble because the sides are very thin, but I'm just going to score that down away from me, and then you'll do it 2 more times. You'll do those squares towards you, and then the next score line is 1 more time away from you. I'm not going to attach this to our back piece just yet. I am going to show you that this piece will cut out a perfect A2 size, just like that. So I'll take that, run that through my die cutting machine, and then just like before, I am going to use my pencil and my T-ruler to mark the center and use those lines. I'm marking, the center of each of these, so that'd be what, 2 1/8, and then this is 5½, so it'd be 2 3/4. Yes. And so then I'll draw lines that will extend out, and this is our top piece. And just do it very, very lightly with a pencil because you may need to erase that later. Just lining that up, and then I'll take this die and I am going to line those lines up with the notches in the die. And once I have that perfectly lined up, I'll just tack that down with a little bit more mint tape and run that through my die cutting machine. And if you have any leftover like pencil marks, just erase those. So that's going to have your shutter pop through and kind of hide the mechanism. So there are our 3 pieces. So let's start assembling. To assemble the middle piece to our back piece, you're only going to put glue on 4 parts. That's it. So you're going to just take a little bit of liquid glue and kind of go around those circles inside that square. You want to stay inside the square. And once you have that glue down, you'll line that up with your back piece ever so carefully, which I'm trying to be so careful about. And then you'll just make sure that that is glued down. Hold it for a few seconds and try to work your shutters here. You just want to make sure that that's adhered, but you also want to make sure that no other place is adhered. So there you go. Our shutter now works. So now you can take our front piece, and we're not going to do like I did in the first video. We are going to determine exactly where I want that glue. So I'm actually going to open up the shutter, and this will show me exactly where I can put that glue. So anywhere that is available. So you'll see right here, then we go around the circle, and we go on this very thin edge, and then we go around the top and do the same thing on the other side. So previously I just put glue all over the back. It worked out fine, but now I know the proper way to do it, and I definitely wanted to show you. So I'm just going to stick my top piece over the top of that and just make sure that it is glued down. And once again, I will have a little bit of area where I'm going to need to trim off. So my shutter works, everything works great. Continue to manipulate that shutter as you are going along, just to make sure that everything's working properly. But I'm going to go ahead and trim this down. I'm going to take that and put that inside my guillotine trimmer, and then I can just trim off that excess. Now I did all of this in like real time, but pretty soon here when we get to decorating, we are going to just go ahead and fast forward. So here we are. I'm going to show you some of the elements in here. You've got this little lattice piece and you've got a rectangle, so you can cut some of those out and put those on the front, which is what I plan to do. You could avoid the lattice altogether and just cut out some rectangles if you want, and you can put these on the outside of your shutters and you can put them on the inside of your shutters, so you definitely have options here. So I'll just take some glue and put that on the areas that I think it needs it so that that doesn't pop up, and then I'll let that off to the side to dry. I went ahead and die cut all of my daisies out of some white paper, and I'm going to pull in this toolkit. This is the Susan's Garden Ultimate Toolkit. It's amazing. It has all the tools you would need to make, you know, realistic looking flowers, and it also just has tools that you'd need for everyday crafting as well. So now I'm just going to take that piece. It's got a couple different parts that you could put in there, but I put the middle one. And now I'm going to adhere my daisy pieces together. This will give them a little bit of dimension and it'll pop them off the page just a tiny bit. But look, you can kind of play with that. And Spellbinders has so many great dies for stuff like this. If you really like those realistic looking flowers, or if you just want to have your projects have flowers that look like they're kind of popping off the page a little bit, this is an amazing tool for that. So then I'll glue those pieces together. I'll do it for all three. So we've got a couple of them. They just look, you know, all three of them are a little bit different. And then this last one I'm going to do, you could do it probably a couple of different ways, but I'm going to make it look like the center portion of the daisy is poking out of the top. So once again, manipulating that a little bit, those petals, and then I'll glue these pieces together. And then we're going to move on to the centers. I'm going to use some Copic markers that I have. I want these to look kind of like a mustard orange. And so I'll bring in a couple different colors and then I'll blend those. I keep them in place because it just makes it a little easier for coloring. And then I'll pull those out and then I can glue those into place. And then I'll just glue all the different centers onto the different daisies. The next thing I want to do is die cut out the words that come in this set, which are Happy Birthday and To You. And I went ahead and die cut those out of some yellow cardstock. And once again, I'm going to bring in my Copics just to add a little bit of an ombre to those. So this is just a fun way to make a die have a little bit more life to it or a little bit more dimension. And then once I'm ready or I'm done with that, I'll pop all of those little pieces out and we're going to put those on the inside of our shutter. So we'll put the Happy Birthday on the top one and then To You on that last one. Just using some glue and just making sure that I put it in areas that I might be concerned that they would pop up. So we'll do that for all three of those words, and I'm using my reverse tweezers from that Garden Ultimate Toolkit. And everything still works great. I was playing around. Of course, Miles wanted to come in because we have little pieces. And then I decide I want to cut out Happy Birthday again. That's going to go on the front, almost like you're singing the song, if that makes sense. So you've got Happy Birthday, and then you open it up, Happy Birthday to You. So once again, we'll glue these little pieces down. And I know it looks, now that I'm watching this video, it looks a little bit busy. The happy looks very busy on that lattice background, but holding the card in my hand, and when I look at the picture afterwards, I think it looks pretty good. So it's kind of interesting how the camera isn't always 100% accurate when you're videoing. So now I'll just glue down my daisy to the top here. And it does come with little stem dies as well, as you can see there. And then I'll put this birthday. So with happy, I kind of lined it up more on the left-hand side of our lattice. And with birthday, I'm going to line it up more on the right-hand side of our lattice. So it'll be a little bit more visually appealing. Your eye will just naturally go in that direction. And then I'll take those last two daisies and we'll take their little stems and attach those down. Kind of just trying to see where I want those to go, but you can see just from this video that it does look like maybe that would be too busy and you almost can't read Happy Birthday. Isn't that funny? Because I can absolutely read it when I'm looking at the card. So funny. But think about all the options that you have with these little shutter cards. You wouldn't have to use the dies that come with it. You could play around with any dies or any stamps you might even have in your stash. There's so many options for these little shutters, and it's a very easy interactive kind of card to make. So I just showed you how simple it was, and now that I know how to do it myself, I mean, I could crank these out like nothing. So now that all that is down, I'm going to attach this to an A2 size card base that opens on its side. So that was originally 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches and scored at 4 1/4. And then I'm going to bring in this piece. This one does come from the Butterfly Bliss Garden Shutters. I just love this little die to help let the recipient know that this is an interactive card, that it's more than just meets the eye. So I've run that through my die cutting machine, and I am going to then attach this down, just using a little bit of liquid glue on the bottom, and then we'll attach that to our open panel. So like I said, that's just going to let the recipient know that there's more than meets the eye. And once that's done, that's going to finish off our card. So check it out. How fun is that? I think I'm going to have to make a few of these and play around with different things I have in my stash. So if you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button and definitely consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. And as always, big thanks for all the support that you guys give, whether it's using my affiliate links, hitting that like button, or subscribing. You all are amazing. And I will see you very soon in another video. Bye, everybody.